Wow, do we have a month ahead? My friend, it is December 2025, and 2025 is not going out without a bang. In this video, we are going to go over the transits that are happening in sidereal astrology in December 2025. My friend, buckle in because we've got a lot to talk about in this video. Hello. Welcome back to the Cosmic Mystic, where we blend strategy and soul work to help healers, coaches, and conscious leaders build soul-aligned lives and businesses that fully support their mission. If we have not met, I am Danny C. Muniz, the creator of the Inner Alchemy Method, which is a journey to soul-led sovereignty. This is where deep healing meets embodied leadership. So I love to help high achieving, introverted, spiritual Gen X women reclaim their power, embody their truth, and lead from within. All right, my friend, let's dive into my favorite thing to do, which is the state of the planets and where they are as we kick off this December. And as I prepare to share my screen with you, I also want to remind you that we do have this in two different formats. For those of you that are more of a visual learner, we have this forecast on the YouTube channel called The Cosmic Mystic, and you can find the video with the charts. You can see me. And just realizing I need to put my glasses on so I can see you. All right, so we also have the podcast. So for those of you that are more of an audio learner or listener, maybe you're somebody who just wants to listen to this on the run, or maybe you saw the video and now you just want to go listen because there's some things in there that you want to hear over and over, which is what I hear a lot of people say, is that they love to listen to it over and over again because there's all these little things that they might have missed, or when a transit comes up, they're wanting to also take part in that, as well as like, oh, what did she say about that? We also do have a support for you there that I will be sharing with you, and some new things coming in 2026 that I'm so excited about to share with you and all the things. So let's go ahead and begin with our state of the planets. So our state of the planets simply is, where is everybody as we kick off this month? Where are the planets? Where is everybody hanging out? And then we'll talk about the movements that they're going to make throughout the month throughout this video. So right here, we're going to start with our sun. I always love to start with the sun, and the sun is still, it's about 50% through the Scorpio zodiac. So we're at 15 degrees Scorpio right now as we begin this month. We've got Venus here at 6 degrees Scorpio. We've got Mercury, who just came out of retrograde. Hallelujah. Mercury is out of retrograde, and he is in Libra. And then we've got our south node over here in Leo. Jupiter retrograde in Cancer, just moved into that Cancer energy. We've got Uranus over here in Taurus. We've got our moon kicking off this month in Aries. Chiron, who is also conjunct Chiron here in Pisces, who is retrograde at 28 degrees. We've got our Neptune energy over here, still retrograde in Pisces at 5 degrees. We've got Saturn, who came out of retrograde in Pisces. We've got that nice forward movement there at the end of November. We've got our North Node at 20 degrees Aquarius. Pluto over here in Capricorn, and Mars over here at 25 degrees Scorpio. So lots to share with you as these planets are shifting and changing. So one of the first things I want to start with is I always love to talk about the sun and kind of where the sun is going to be. Now, I did say we are in Scorpio season as we kick off this month in sidereal astrology. Remember, we are looking at this from the lens of sidereal astrology. So sidereal astrology does not go with the seasons. We go what is actually up in the sky at this time. And if we were to take a telescope and look, you can use different apps on your phone to do this. I used to do this in person to people at my new moon circles all the time, is to show them where the moon was, or where the sun was in the sky through these apps. And so if we were to do that, we would see that the sun is still in the constellation of Scorpio. So it's still moving through that energy, and it will continue to move through about mid-month here on the 15th. We'll see it move out of Scorpio and in to Sagittarius. So we are kicking off in that energy. Now we're still bringing in some of these energies that we had from November, where we were square our nodes, our lunar nodes. And we're going to talk about those in a second when we talk about our full moon that we have coming up on the 4th, where the lunar nodes are going to play a role, a big role actually. But I want to come over here to the 8th of December, which is next week. So a week from when I am recording this video, which is the 8th of December, we see this trine over here to Chiron. So I wanted to bring this one in. I love to talk about the aspects that are mainly affecting the sun, because the sun is our consciousness, right? The sun is how we're seeing things, how we're thinking about things, our lens on how we're processing information. And so I always love to talk about the sun and its transits. So Chiron, as if you've been following me for a bit, Chiron is our wounded healer. It is the planet that kind of shows, well, not planet, but asteroid that is showing our deepest wounds. And so when we look at this connection with Chiron, it is actually a very supportive aspect. So there's opportunities here for us to really shine, because we're talking about the sun and we're talking about that core energy of who we are and allowing ourselves to be seen. So there may be some things that have been coming up as we are navigating Scorpio season that are helping you kind of identify maybe where you've been hiding, or where you haven't allowed your true essence to really come through, that uniqueness of who you are. And so this is an opportunity to allow some of those things to rise up, for you to seize those opportunities to put your stuff out there, to be seen in different places and spaces. And so there is a really beautiful path here for you to move on to. Optimism and creativity are going to really help you move through this particular aspect, or this particular transit, which will be here for just a bit, to really allow that to come forward for you. So this is a great time to really draw on those creative skills and talents that you have to allow yourself to heal through this, okay? So let's look at the next one I want to look at, which is this square that's coming over here on the 10th. And that's going to be with our daddy Saturn. So we've got a square over here with Saturn. Now squares tend to be a little bit more of a challenging aspect. So we can see some challenges come up here with this particular transit. And because we're talking about Saturn, things tend to feel a little bit more restrictive. They tend to feel more pressure. There's a little bit of pessimism here, more of depression, kind of like I always say, there's like that dark cloud that tends to come around when we're talking about Saturn. And it's just because it's very realistic. It's very practical. Like, are we really doing the things? Like, let's be real here, right? So some of the things that you might want to consider here is your goals or achieving things might feel a little bit harder, or it might feel like there's restrictions and you can't quite get to where you want to go. Things are happening that feel like you're being restricted, or your hands are tied and you're not able to do something, not able to move forward. This is what can happen with this transit. And this transit is going to be here through most of the month, from the 10th through the 22nd. You might feel like my hands are tied, like I can't move forward with something. There might, which then can get you into that place of feeling very pessimistic, getting depressed, like I can't do anything, nothing's working, right? It's all kind of coming down. And you might feel some rejection or even isolation here. So I want to bring this forward because this can really come out and really shine and not so good way, right? So one thing I'm going to recommend for you to do here is just to notice when you are feeling this and asking yourself, like, what is this here to show me? What is this here to teach me? If I am starting to feel like, nothing is working out. Okay, sometimes when things aren't working out, sometimes when things aren't clicking as fast as you would like them, it's most likely, at least in my experience and what I've seen with my clients, is there's more information that needs to be had, or there's a slowing down that needs to happen. A few months ago, when I lost my voice, it was a really big awakening for me to be like, okay, Danny, there's something that needs to shift here. You need to slow it down because there's something here for you. And there was so much that I got out of that time of just slowing down and just pausing and reconnecting to things that I had kind of just put to the side because I was moving on to other things, or I was rushing through things. And so this isn't here to restrict you. This isn't here to make you feel bad about yourself. It's here to show you, to point out some limitations that maybe you have put upon yourself that we can now move through, right? So I always, I want to bring this to your attention because I truly believe like this could be really challenging. And I also want you to know that you don't have to stay stuck there. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next one, which is Venus. Now, Venus coming in here on the 12th, she is connecting up here with the sun, and she's going to be moving with the sun for quite a while. We're going to see her conjunct the sun all the way through the end of January. So they're going to be hanging out quite a bit. They're going to move through Scorpio season and then into Sagittarius season. So Venus is, she's love, she's beauty, she's money, she's that like social, really fun energy. And so she is full expression of love and affection and creativity here, like that beautiful radiating energy that's attracting things. She's magnetic, right? And attracts things to her. So this here, there's a really beautiful time for giving, for receiving, hence, hello, the holiday season. Hosting events, hosting parties, gathering people together, and just being in just that really loving energy. Now, I know that there are also challenges with that, is sometimes there are gatherings and events that can be a little bit more challenging, especially as you're getting invited to things that maybe they're not the type of events you want to go to, or they're not the people that bring out the best of you. They might be the people that bring out the worst of you. Sometimes that's family, right? When family triggers you. I did a whole talk on that. It was like, wow, it's definitely can happen. So I want you to just understand first off that this is a really beautiful time for love and affection and connection. And so you might feel like you're wanting to connect with people if you're feeling like I have nobody, because I definitely have been in that realm, and I have clients who have been in that realm, and I have nobody. My friend, you are the creator of your reality. And so if you want to have fun, if you want to host a party, if you want to be around people, then go do that. Go do it. And if you can't find something, build it yourself. It's one of the main ideas that I got from a mentor a couple of years ago. And he said, if you can't find what you're looking for, then go build it yourself. And so there you go. If you want to have a party, if you want to be in that social environment, host an event, my friend. Host a little gathering, bring some people together, have some fun. You are the creator of your reality. All right, let's move on to Neptune, who's coming in a couple days later here on the 14th. And Neptune is going to be square. So we've been talking about Neptune and, oh, there it is, it finally came in, Neptune and Saturn being conjunct. So we already knew Saturn was coming in with that limitation and that restriction energy, but now we've got Neptune here, and Neptune's coming in on the 14th, and it will be there till about the 26th of December. And he is going to kind of weaken some of that vitality that we have. It might feel harder to be motivated. You might feel insecure, or maybe guilty, or you might over idealize things. Relationships can be subject to some dishonesty here and some deception, especially since we're connecting still to this Scorpio energy, as we're right on the edge of it here. Once it moves out of Sagittarius, that'll weaken a little bit, but Neptune kind of brings in this hazy, phasey, cloudy energy. And so when I say weaken, it's you're not as vibrant maybe as it has been, okay? So this point right in here, it's about 11, 12 days where it might not feel, you might not have that energy that you normally have. And I want you to think about this. This is why I'm saying this, because oftentimes that last few weeks in there around, the holidays, Christmas, that kind of idea, there's a lot of gatherings and a lot of events, as I just talked about with Sun and Venus, right? A lot of parties and gatherings. And so you're invited and you're going and you're doing all these things. But right here, you might not feel as vibrant as maybe you did at the beginning of the month. And so for those of you who are introverts like me, who make plans, and then when it comes to that day of the plan, you're like, why did I make this plan? Why did I decide to do this? You might want to reconsider some things and maybe not say yes right away for things that are happening during this time, because your energy might be a little bit weaker than it normally is. Again, everybody is different, but I do want to call it out in case that might also be for you. Flip side of this though is sometimes those of us that are more on the extrovert or the ambivert, right? We need to be around people, right? Our energy is actually amplified when we are around people. Now, I am more of an introvert, but I would also consider myself an ambivert because I do love to be around people. I do get energized around people, but then I hit my limit and I'm like, okay, I'm done and I'm out, right? And so I say this because sometimes you think like, oh, I don't want to be around people, but actually what you do need is to be around people. So I want you to just do a check-in with yourself, check in with your body, and thinking about, not just thinking about the event, not just feeling into the event, but checking in with your body and seeing how does it feel, right? How does it feel? Or what does my body have to tell me about going to this thing or accepting this invitation? Or maybe what would feel good to the body? Maybe it's part of it, right? Going, but maybe only staying for just a bit, or maybe going to this and not that, right? Check in with your body. I'm going to always tell you to check in with your body and see what it is telling you, because the mind can override a lot, but the body never lies, okay? All right, let's move into the last transit, and then we'll talk about the sun in Sagittarius. And we're also going to talk about a few other things when we talk about that. So first off, we have that that Mars energy coming in here on the 17th. So let me get over to there. And this one is just like Venus in the sense of it is going to be here for a while. So we're going to see these three planets right here really hanging out quite a bit over the next month, because we're going to see it through here through the beginning of February. So Mars is going to go to the 2nd of February, where Venus was at the end of January. So a couple of days longer, but we're going to see these three traveling together. Now, this is really beautiful because we have our Mars, who's motivation, our drive, our passion. We've got the sun, who is that consciousness, who is really that vitality, that life force that we have. And then we've got Venus, who is that love and beauty and creation energy. And so all three of these are going to be working with us together over the next month and a half, allowing us to move through this last half of the year and into the new year. Like, I love when this combo comes together. It does happen. It is not, it's not an annual thing. They don't always run together. You can look at last year, they weren't really running together. They might have been close by, but they weren't conjunct like this as they are this year. And so this is a rare opportunity in that sense of those three energies driving us into this new year. Now, I want to say something here, because what I love about this is that 2025 has been a year, right? It has been a year of endings. It's a 9 year, right? So there's been a lot of endings. And here we are in that final push as we move through the end of this year and into next year with these three forces behind us, working with us to really welcome in, to end and welcome in the new year. So I don't know about you, but I'm super excited about this energy and what it's going to bring up for me and how it's going to help me guide me into this new year. So I'm in love with it. I'm just in love with it. All right, let me go back to sharing my screen. Okay, so let's talk about this Sagittarius energy, because I did mention that these guys are going to be hanging out together. Well, as the sun moves into Sagittarius on the 15th, we are going to see a couple of other planets, as I just mentioned, moving into there as well. We're going to see, first off, we're going to see Mars move into Sagittarius on the 7th. So Mars, we can't see it here, but Mars moved into Sagittarius here on the 7th. We also have Venus, who is moving into Sagittarius on the 19th. There we go. And we are also going to have Mercury move into Sagittarius here at the end of the month on the 28th. It's going to move later in the afternoon here into Sagittarius. So we're going to have Mars, the Sun, Venus, and Mercury all in this Sagittarius energy. So let's talk a little bit about Sagittarius and kind of what are some things that could be coming up? What is this energy kind of bringing in? Because bringing that Mercury in here at the very end of the month, that's our thinking, that's our processing, that's our communication. So that's bringing that extra layer into this, where we're not only talking about our motivation, our drive, our passion, not only talking about love and beauty and that relationship energy, that money energy, but now we're also talking about our communication and our thinking and our processing. These are all what are called personal planets. They're the closest to the sun, with Mercury being the closest, closest to the sun. And with that, these influence us in a much more intimate way in our day-to-day, in where the outer planets like a Saturn, a Uranus, a Neptune, those planets influence us in a more bigger moves and more in the collective energy. So these planets all being together and having that energy all really united here in Sagittarius is really bringing what I like to call Sagittarius as the visionary. So Sagittarius is ruled by the planet Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is all about expansion, abundance, wisdom, growth. It wants to expand things. So this is our visionary perspective. This sees the forest, not just the trees. This is where we're able to step into that eagle vision and say, okay, here's what's going on, right? Here's the bigger viewpoint of things. And this time of year is perfect for that energy as we're ending that year and stepping into the new year, right? Because we get an opportunity to reflect on what has happened, and not just as I didn't hit this goal, or I didn't do this thing, or I did get to do this, but I didn't do this, right? Not just from that lens, but from the bigger lens of what was actually happening. What was the actual theme? Because it's really easy for us, my friend, to look at the past couple of months as the entire year, right? When we start to look back at like January, like what even happened in January? Does anybody even remember what happened in January? Do you remember what happened in February? Unless something significant happened to you in those months, you probably don't really remember those months. You don't really remember what happened. Sagittarius season gives us that opportunity to look at it and look at it from a higher perspective, not just this is what happened to me, but this is what it created, because it's taking that bigger picture out. out. If something did happen in January or February that shifted things for you, you're now able to look back and say, wow, look what this created for me this year. Look what I've been able to do. Look what was brought forward for me because of this, right? This is also very optimistic energy. Sagittarius is the most optimistic out of all of the zodiac signs. So it believes in the possibility, even if it's difficult, even if it's challenging, it believes in the possibility of something. So you've got that optimistic energy, which can also go against us a bit when we're looking at this time of year and what we want to move into in 2026, right? Into the new year. It definitely can harm us when we're setting those goals, because this is why I do not set goals during Sagittarius season. I'm somebody who definitely goes against this norm in the way, because I don't believe that Sagittarius is the best energy to set your goals, because you're in that visionary place. Yes, you're in that higher perspective, but you've also got that optimism like no other, where you're like, yes, I can have 50 breathwork sessions in the year. Yes, I can create, this schedule that has all of these things in it. Or yes, I can, have this one thing. Like, we definitely can be in that over optimistic energy, and that, my friend, can get us into a place where now we're guilting and shaming ourselves because we've set this really high expectation that I'm gonna hit $1 million this year in my business, and I don't do that. And then I'm frustrated with myself. I'm angry because why didn't I do that thing? And so this is the worst energy to set some goals in. I'm going to tell you to set your goals in Capricorn season, which isn't until mid-January. So I'm going to give you that space right now. If that was a relief for you, to say, this is the time, enjoy the season, enjoy the visioning, enjoying the reflecting. And then in January, let's set down some goals. I don't set my goals until my annual retreat that I do every single year, which is in the middle of January as we begin Capricorn season. And I set my plan during Capricorn season, and then I begin to execute it after, right? Or I'll start a little bit in it, but I'm already, yes, I can think about what I want in this new year, but as I get to Capricorn season is when I set those foundations, because now I'm getting practical. Now I'm getting logical, and I'm connecting the dots, okay? So Sagittarius is the truth seeker, so it wants to uncover the truth of things. And so you might find that you are seeking truth in things, maybe even seeking truth of what this year really was for you, what those challenges really were for you, what they really brought for you, maybe even the relationships that are working for you or aren't working for you, right? It's a really good time to be really honest and truthful with yourself, especially coming off of the Scorpio season. We've also got this really teacher mentoring energy. So it wants to share wisdom. So as you are discovering your own wisdom of what this year has been for you, or what you've gained this year, and in that knowledge, and then sharing it with others. This is why social gatherings, people are sharing and they're wanting to talk about things that they have done. It's just this, I see this every single year, and I'm just so, like, a smile always comes across my face at how this energy plays out, right? It plays out. If you're paying attention, my friend, you'll see it. The other thing is adventure. So Sagittarius loves adventure. It loves to go to uncharted territory, places it's never been before, realms it's never stepped into. It wants to go and seek that adventure. It actually needs that adventure. So whether you are physically going on a trip, or you are trying something new, going somewhere new, find an opportunity here. I say this during Sagittarius season and Aquarius season every single year. Find something, some new way to do something in your day-to-day, whether it's something you've been wanting to go to that you've never been to before. That is some uncharted territory. Or maybe it's diving into something that you've never, maybe it's a new philosophy, maybe it's a new belief system that you haven't stepped into before that you're curious about. check it out. Or maybe there's this energy around just doing something different. So if you go out of your driveway and you always turn right, try turning left. If you get to the light and you normally go right, go left. Is it going to take you longer? Probably. Is it going to give you something new to see? Absolutely. And let me tell you, like Jupiter, Sagittarius loves that. It loves seeing new things. Like we just explored a new part of Austin that we had never been to. And I was like, wow, look at this. Like I was so excited to see this different space, right? That's what Sagittarius is all about. The last thing I'm going to say here about Sagittarius is there's this higher learning, this wanting to learn more. So if you find that you're wanting to learn things, I always take the last couple of years, for the past probably 6 years, the last 2 weeks of the year, I usually take to go into like this study mode. So there's reflection that I'm doing, and there's also this learning that like I want to learn things. I want to take some time to maybe look at some of those things that I bought maybe a program I bought or a course I bought that I wanted to dive into that I didn't have the time, or I didn't create the time, let's be real, to really focus on those, that I take that time to do it. So it's just something, that you could do during this time. So I love Sagittarius energy for all of that. Now, some of the things I'm also going to say here with Sagittarius, and because we have all of the energies in this, so we're just going to take these just a little bit into each one of these. So Mars, we're looking at that from a motivation, from a drive, from a passion lens. So it's more of the action oriented energy here when we're talking about Sagittarius. So actually doing the thing, actually trying something, right? The actual doing of the thing. That's that Mars energy, or that drive and motivation to seek out the truth, to seek out that adventure, to seek out the optimism in something, right? From the Venus lens, it's looking at this, the perspective of the relationships. It's looking at the social energy, the money, the beauty. It's coming in from that lens. So, what do these things mean, or how can I learn from this, right? Or getting down to the truth about something in a relationship, or what somebody is doing, right? Like that's where Venus is wanting to go. And then Mercury, in our thinking and our processing, it's like, okay, what am I learning about this? How can I share this? Seeing the optimistic perspective on something. Now, I'm a natural optimist, so I easily see the optimism in things, but not everybody is like that, right? Well, this season, it'll help you if you choose, right? If you choose to see the optimistic perspective on something, like how is this working out for me? How is this serving me? Like those questions right there really help open up your perspective to see what is another way that you can look at something. So I hope you are excited about Sagittarius season as I am, because Sagittarius season is a fun season. And we've got these really cool connections, as I talked about some of the connections with the sun that are going to be moving through as the moon moves into Sagittarius, which will be really, really fun. So one of the things that I really see that is coming through this Sagittarius season with all of this happening is, from a shadow work lens, is what am I actually building here? What am I actually building? Whether it's your life, whether it's your relationships, whether it's your business, whether it's your mission, whether it's in your health, what are you actually building here? And are you up for the challenge? Are you truly up for the challenge? Are you willing to take the next steps, to form the habits, to have the mindset, to do that work? Because that work doesn't end. You don't get to a place where it's like, oh, okay, I've got the great mindset now, I'm good to go. No, that is work, because I hear people say new level, new devil. I think it's new level, same devil. I think it's the same things that are going to reoccurring patterns that you're going to have, but from a different lens. I've seen that in myself and I've seen it in my clients where we get to a new level and it's like, okay, I'm here, but there's still a new layer, a new piece of that thing that I'm here to look at. So there we go, my friend. This is Sagittarius season. This is what we're here. This is the legacy, right? If you were to talk about legacy, which I have some thoughts on legacy, did a whole episode with my friend Christine Moe on legacy. But if you're looking at what if you're, people were to reflect on who you were in this lifetime, like what was that, right? This right here, what you are doing, what you are creating is part of it. What do you want people to say, right? What do you want to be known for? What do you want, when people are reflecting on you and your life, if they were to write a book about you, what would it say? That's what we're looking at here. Like, what legacy are you leaving? All right, let's move into my next two favorite topics, which are the full moon and the new moon. So we're going to talk about the full moon first, because the full moon is coming up on December 4th. And let me go ahead and pull that one up. It's going to be at 5:13 p.m. Central Time. And we can see that right here. And it is, so we have the opposition between the sun and the moon, and then we have a square to our lunar nodes. So this is at 18 degrees in Taurus. So the square to the nodes are where we're getting some karmic energy in here. So this is a release point before we move in to Sagittarius. Because it is squaring both the nodes, this is what is often called a crisis of fate. So when we're looking at this, it's like there's a crisis of fate happening here. And this demands that you let go of material security, those attachments that are blocking you from moving your path forward. Now, here's the thing that I want to say about that. The root chakra, right, which is our stability, our security, that has to be set in order for us to be able to move through the other chakras. So if our root chakra is unstable, it is going to cause, as much as we want to be in the third eye and in the crown and connecting right to the divine and receiving the downloads, if our root chakra is not stable, everything else is going to be off. We can work as much as we want around here, but we are not going to materialize it. We have to have that root chakra foundation set. And this right here is that opportunity for us to let go of the things that are blocking us from having that stable, secure root chakra, that open and abundant energy. So this full moon is really asking us, what comfort, what stability, what resource are you clinging to that's actually keeping you stuck? What thing are you clinging to that is actually keeping you stuck? Most of the time, it's, at least what I see with clients, is outdated definitions, outdated belief systems around security. The steady paycheck, the safe business model, the need for external validation. So we don't take the visionary risks, we don't take the steps that Sagittarius season is going to require from us, right? We're trying to stay safe. So this particular full moon is that pathway, that fork in the road of, what are you going to choose? Are you going to hold on to that comfort, or are you going to allow yourself to really ground yourself in that root chakra, in that stability and security, so that you can move forward, to release what's keeping you in the past so that you can move forward toward your destiny, my friend? All right. Let's talk about the next one, which is our new moon. And our new moon is on the 19th, and it is at, this is another evening, 7:43 p.m. Central Time. All right, and you, as we talked about before, right, we have all of our planets here conjunct. Now, our Mercury or our Venus has not quite moved into Sagittarius, and Mercury isn't quite there yet, but we do have Mars and the moon and the sun and Venus all conjunct. They're all hanging out together. So this is all influencing this new moon energy, along with those squares to Saturn and Neptune, and that trine over to Chiron, which is everything we've talked about so far up until this point, as far as those aspects are concerned. So all of that energy that we've just talked about is right here on this new moon. This new moon is not joking, my friend. As we wrap up, right, this final new moon in 2025, this new moon is not coming. Not coming in nice. It is coming in hot. Let's just say. So let's talk about, because this is where your vision gets tested, where it gets refined, and it gets activated all at once. So this new moon is asking, is your vision real, or is it fantasy? Are you willing to do the healing work your vision requires? Can you build structure around your dreams? This is your initiation, if you choose, into visionary leadership, into that sacred CEO. But it's only if you're willing to be uncomfortable, to be in the discomfort of having your vision challenged, while also committing to it 100%. There is something that I've learned this year that was a big, huge awakening for me, and this fits into this new moon. And so I want to share it with you because this was such an awakening for me, in like, you cannot manifest what you don't believe you can manifest. So let me say that a little bit differently. How confident are you when you say, whatever that is? I'm going to say, let's go with, I want to make 100K, or I want to replace my income from my corporate job. If you are still in corporate, I want to replace my corporate income with my business. Great. How confident, how unshakable faith do you have in that? Scale of 0 or scale of 1 to 10. How confident are you that you can do that? That you can replace your income, that you can earn 100K. If you say anything less than 10, you will not manifest it, my friend. If you say anything less than 10, you will not manifest it. So if you said 9, if you said 8, I'm 80% sure, Danny, that I can do it. Well, then you don't have the full faith and the full commitment. I'm sorry, and that might seem harsh. It was harsh to me when I heard it, and I'm like, but I really do want it. What are you talking about? I really do want this. I know, I'm sure that I can make this amount of money this year. I'm sure that I can attract this amount of people into an event. I know I can do this. I know I can, but do I believe that it's going to happen? I have that doubt. And because I have that doubt, it does not manifest. It manifests up to that point. So if I said, oh, I can attract 10 people into my program, and I'm only confident that I can attract 6 people into that, then I will attract 6 people into it. I see it over and over and over again, on not only in my business, not only with my clients, but I also, if you did not know, work on sales teams for 6- and 7-figure entrepreneurs. So I'm at these events that are hitting $1 million in one day, right? If we do not have, if the host, if the person who's putting on the event, if the sales team, if the team is not fully committed to a particular number, if we do not believe that we can hit that number, we don't hit it. We hit what we believe we can hit. If we believe we can only hit 500K, we will hit 500K. If we believe that we can hit 1 million, we'll hit 1 million. It's all dependent upon what we believe will happen, which is why it's so important for us to be congruent with what it is we are thinking, believing, and acting as it relates to the thing that we want to manifest. You want the key to manifestation, my friend? I just gave it to you. I just gave you the key. You've got to be 100% confident. This is why people say you have to feel it. You have to believe it. You have to, act, right? What is it, that saying? You have to act before it is delivered. Like you have to pretend, right? Pretend that you have it. It's not in pretending, it's knowing. It's knowing, it's having that full faith and that full trust that this is happening. That is when it happens. Think back to the last thing that you manifested. How confident were you in that you could manifest that thing? Or how confident in that range from 1 to 10 were you? If you believed you could do 50%, then I'm sure you did 50%. If you believed that you could do 80%, then I guarantee you probably did 80%. If you subconsciously, though, believed that you could only do 10%, then you probably only did 10%. My friend, I'm telling you, this is what this new moon is all about. And I'm like, yes, let's do this. As much as I'm not happy about what it's going to bring up for me, because is my vision real? Or am I just fantasizing about something and hoping and wishing? Like, what do I actually want? And am I willing to do the work? Am I willing to get uncomfortable? Am I willing to take the actions that are not comfortable to get the thing that I want? Am I willing to do that? How willing am I? And how much do I believe that I can actually achieve that thing? My friend, this is our new moon. This is what I'm telling you. This month is like no other. We are not ending 2025 with like a nice, oh, this was so great. No, this is coming in with a bang. This is powerful. We've got so much beautiful energy with this. Now, at this point, I do want to say, because you've been listening to me for a bit now, and you're probably like, well, yeah, Danny, like, I love this. I love all that you're saying. I'm excited for what this, new moon is all about. I'm so excited about this December. Like you've said a lot. I'm like, okay, December is loaded, right? It's got a lot here. We've got that full moon, we've got that new moon, we've got Mars and Mercury and Venus and the sun all in that Sagittarius energy. And we haven't talked about it yet, but we've got Neptune who's going direct, who's really clarifying our intuition. And I'm going to say that this is here. Like, how am I going to deal with all this? How am I going to process all of this? How am I going to work through all this? It seems like a lot. Well, my friend, this is why you are here, because I got you. I have created the December Lunar Shadow Work Journal specifically to guide you through these major transits this month. So it's got shadow work prompts in the 4 life categories. We're talking relationships and love, business, career, money, health and vitality, and your soul calling, your purpose, your mission. So it's got somatic practices in there. So you're not just thinking, because it's really easy to think about things, but we're actually going to check in with the body. We're going to see how we can embody this energy and really step into this with rituals for each transit that honors its elemental energy. So if it's a water element, we're working with water. If it's a fire element, we're working with fire. So we're working with this energy, my friend. This is your roadmap through one of the most visionary months of the year. So you can grab that journal, and this is the last time that this journal will be offered for free, because I craft these every single month specifically for the transits of the month. You can get it for free at thepeaceteacher.com/lunar journal. And I'll tell you, if you get this month's lunar journal, there's going to be a special invitation for you in 2026 for our January lunar journal. That is going to be a beautiful journal, talking about the transits, talking about goal setting and intention setting, and an opportunity to join a community where we're going to get to do some fun stuff together. So If that feels like, if you want that support, then be sure to go to thepeaceteacher.com/lunar journal to grab that lunar journal today so that you can start working through these transits, because we've got some stuff already starting. All right, let's dive back in to our forecast. So I just have a couple of things I want to talk about as we talk about Mercury, Venus, and Mars. And I do want to talk about that Neptune going direct. So stay tuned for just a little bit longer, where we're just going to cover some of the main things that we're seeing here, because we do still have some transits that I want to talk about. In particular, we're going to move over to Mercury. So Mercury, we're going to talk about this opposition that's happening here with Uranus on the 5th of December. So we're going to see Mercury with this opposition here. Now, Mercury is that thinking, processing information. Uranus is doing things its own way. It is the rebel planet, right? So there's going to be this energy of speeding up our thoughts and our pace. It's going to feel like there's like this rushing energy, and it can feel, it can leave you feeling more tense, more scattered, maybe nervousness, some anxiety. Maybe your concentration is just like, I can't focus. You get distracted. This is not a good energy for like making plans, negotiating things, tasks that require patience and discipline. This is not the time for it. This is going to go through the 5th of December through the 15th of December. So there might be some like, oh, distraction energy. I just want to just go out and do something different. I'm tired of the same old routine. I'm tired of like just the norm, right? I want something different. And so there could be some things that you're wanting like this energy to pull into something different. So if you have some tasks that are like really going to need your mental focus and energy, if you can put them off till after the 15th, gonna highly recommend that. If not, just know that you're gonna need to put things in place to help support you. So like Pomodoro is something that I love to do. I love to sit there and, oh, I just realized I'm not sharing my screen. I love to put the timer on for 45 minutes or 50 minutes, and then allow myself to just hone in on that thing. Sometimes I'll put like a movie playing in the background that I can listen to, or I'll just use a YouTube video. I'll share some links that I love of YouTube videos that are Pomodoro, and they're like 50-10. So they're 50 minutes, they're music, there's like an ambient sound in the background sometimes. And then you have a 10-minute break, and it has that timer, and then it clocks back in for another cycle of 50 minutes. Those work really well for me when I'm struggling to focus, or sometimes I just need to put on like a movie I've seen before, or a movie like I don't really want to pay attention to much. I'll put that on in the background, and that just kind of helps me focus in. Co-working sessions or body doubling, that's also something that you can do that can help just really focus your energy in. Just make sure that you let your person know that you're not there to talk, you're not there to chat, you're not there to catch up, or make sure you buffer that time in so that you have that opportunity to do that before you dive in, so you can make sure to get your work done. But I also find that creating a to-do list or things that I'm going to work on during that time really, really helps my brain say like, okay, this is what we're working on. All right. And then also give yourself some grace if you get distracted, knowing that this is that transit. Now, one of the other ones I wanted to talk about that's coming in at the end of the month, and this will be at the end of the month into the year, into the new year, is going to be Mercury and Saturn. So we do have this trine here at the beginning of the month with Saturn, which is really great and really supportive. But as we get to the end of the year here on the 26th, we're going to see that transit change. And just wait for my screen to update here. It's going to go into a square. Now, this energy, as we said earlier, might be a little bit distracting and hard, This energy right here is better for your hard mental work. So the 26th through the 2nd, that last week of the year, which is kind of a weird week, which I love that week. And it's also kind of weird because it's like, are we working? Are we not working? What are we doing? Right? I try to host events during that time, and it's just weird. People are in, they're out. It's just all over the place. So this particular year, we've got this square to Saturn that is really going to help us. There you can see it. With that hard mental work, this is kind of like some alone time. So if you're that reflection, I'm actually hosting a reflection workshop on the 29th. So right during this time, to just like get it done. It's more of like a co-working session around reflecting, just to give you that space, because I know it's hard. You want to reflect, but you don't ever create the time to do it, right? So we created that time for you. The other thing that I am going to caution you here is negative thinking. Saturn, anytime we're talking about Saturn, again, that dark cloud, it can bring some of that darkness into, or that depression, or that restrictive energy. So just be caution as we move into that year, as we move into the new year, that there could be some of that coming up. Make sure that you're taking some time to release, to let go, to clear your energy, especially during this week in particular. All right, let's move over to Venus, because Venus, excuse me, has a couple of things that I did want to talk about. Now, one in particular is going to be its opposition with Uranus. So let me come over here to Venus, and she's got the opposition that we talked about from last month. This is going to fall off here on the 4th as we get into that full moon. We're going to see that fall off here. This opposition is going to fall off with Uranus. So that's some good things, because there's been a little like funkiness here with relationships, causing some tension and, kind of maybe some challenges. So that is going to kind of go away, which I'm super excited. So I wanted to bring, excuse me, I wanted to bring that into your attention. But the one I really want to talk about is the square over here to Neptune. And we're going to see this come in because we see here the trine, right? But later on in the month, the 19th, we're going to see this transition into a square. So because we have these guys, right? We talked about this, the guys that are all hanging out here by the sun, this is going to have that square too, just like the sun. So there's some insecurity energy that can be coming through here. And this is going to be the 19th through the 28th. So for those of you that celebrate Christmas, it'll be right over that Christmas holiday. So insecurity about yourself, your appearance, feeling that others are looking at you in a strange way or thinking about you in a strange way. There might be some disappointments here. What tends to happen is a distorted image of self. Like you are seeing yourself in this way, because Neptune brings that hazy, kind of cloudy, kind of not seeing things very clearly. And this is really in that relationship energy, relationship with ourselves and relationship with others. So I want you to just be cautious of that. The other thing, despite the Hallmark movies that love to tell us that we find our love of our lives, our soulmates during the holiday season, there is some over idealizing here about romance. And so I want to keep that in mind as you do, if you are somebody who is single, or if you are in a relationship and you might be watching some of these movies like I am and start to think like, why doesn't he do this for me? And why doesn't he do that for me? And have to remember that this is a movie and this is what they are deeming as romantic, right? This is their version of that, which often makes it harder for me to watch these movies these days. However, I still enjoy watching them, so I do. But there always is in the back of my mind being remembering, like, don't over idealize, right, what is happening on the screen to what I think should be happening in my life, and being clear about what I like and what I want and what is right for me in my life, because that's Hollywood. All right, let's move on to our Mars energy. And Mars does have that square, because we are talking about these two, with them all grouping together. So you can see how these planets that are connected, that are conjunct, again, I like to say that they're all hanging out. They're all hanging out for the holiday, right? They're all hanging out together. They're all coming together, but they're also still connected, right? And so just because the sun has the square to Neptune, so does Venus, and so does Mars. And so I do want to talk about the Mars square to Saturn and Neptune. Now, Saturn did come in on the 30th, so right at the end of November as we entered December, but Neptune comes in here on the 6th. And so we're going to see, let's get out of Venus here and go into Mars. So we're going to see, here's that square. We also, again, have that trine over here to Chiron. So let's talk about the square really quick. There's some frustration here because we're trying to step forward. We're trying to do things, but it's like we're getting delayed, or there's restrictions, or there's defensiveness here, right? I'm trying to, how do I say this? I want to work at home. I want to work alone. I want to be by myself. But there's people that are like, come do this and come do that and come do this. And I'm like, oh, I just want to get my work done. Like, stop coming into my office and distracting me. Stop, right? Like, I just want to just do my work. Can I just do my work? And so it could feel like getting frustrated because it's like, I just want to do this and everything else is calling me to do that, right? And so I want you to just pay attention to that. You can also feel like, I'm going to say, avoid taking risks here, especially this is through the 16th. Just avoid any major risk taking here because it's not a good energy for risk taking. Let's just say Mars generally wants to take all the risk. Saturn doesn't want to take any risk, and so we're not really in the best energy for those, right? We're kind of mixed in this, so nothing too crazy, and just be careful of fighting because it's like you're trying to conquer in this energy, and we don't want to necessarily conquer in our relationship. So just something to consider. Now, the square with Neptune, on the other hand, is coming here, as I said, on the 6th, and will be through the 21st. Again, I mentioned that lower vitality energy with the sun. It's also here with Mars, who is that motivation and that drive. So there could be also some suspicion here, some deceit, some lies might be trying to come through, or things that maybe you can't quite see clearly. Paranoia, jealousy, vindictive energy can also come through here. Just be very mindful of that, of what's going on around you and what people might be trying to put upon you. Just notice that. Temptation could be coming in here too, some temptation, and especially with this still being in that Scorpio energy as we start this, there's still some of that. It'll shift a little bit as we move into Sagittarius, but still a little bit harder on this first day here at the 6th. All right, that is what I want to tell you about Mars. Now let's go to the last thing I want to share with you in today's video, or this Sidereal Astrology December overview, and that is about Neptune. So Neptune we've been talking about, but Neptune is going direct. It has been in its retrograde and it is time to come out. And so I want to tell you a little bit about, as you know, Saturn just became direct on the 27th. So we are very new with that Saturn moving direct, but now we have Neptune, and Neptune's been here since about July, beginning of July. And so for the past 5 months or so, Neptune has been asking us to go inward, right? To look at our spiritual gifts, to do the healing work, to look at our business and to use more of that intuition, trusting God, trusting the universe, right? Finding our flow and being in our spiritual practices. And what does this look like, right? Our connection to source and what our rituals are in connecting to source. So here we are now. in this realm where it is moving forward. So all the things that have kind of maybe come up over the past 5.5 months, or 5+ months, in your intuition and in your gifts and in your connection to the divine, this is where that fog kind of lifts, and the internal work that you've been doing is now becoming clear. So after months of questioning, right, if your intuition is valid, if you can trust your intuition, your intuitive hits are coming in. That divine guidance is coming in. The psychic information is coming through, and you're able to trust your downloads, right? So we're looking at, is the ego involved, right? We're not looking at that anymore. Well, we still should always look at that, but it's not as prevalent, right? Your understanding is that your gifts are real, and that when you actually follow them, you actually get, right, that thing that you've been desiring. You also will start to notice how your gifts are specifically working, how your gifts or your intuition works, because our intuition works differently for every single one of us. How we're connected, like how does that work, and how do we connect in, not forcing it, but allowing it. And also looking at boundaries here, because Neptune is kind of boundless. And so looking at compassion, looking at holding space without absorbing other people's stuff, right? Looking at more universal love and surrendering. And so the vision here, the downloads, the dreams, everything that you've been receiving, Neptune is like, this isn't fantasy. This is real. These are your blueprints. This is the path for you to take. And so I really, really love, and inside the lunar journal, the lunar shadow work journal, we do have this energy around looking at your intuition, looking at how does your own intuition work. There's a beautiful ritual in there that you can use to help support you. But this is like helping you now take 2026, right, using this guidance as your blueprint for how you move forward in your life and in your business. So I'm super excited with Neptune going direct now, and seeing how the things that I have brought up for me personally, how they're going to now move forward with this. So I'm super excited about theirs. There's some really great questions for you to kind of review a lot of what Neptune is asking, and a lot of the healing that wants to come through with this. All right, my friend. Wow, that was a lot. And I told you that was a lot. There's a lot to go through in this month's Sidereal Astrology Forecast. Now, before we wrap up, can I ask you something? How many times have you started the year with a vision board or goals only to feel disconnected from them by February? You might journal, you might set intentions, you try to manifest from alignment, but deep down, something still feels off. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you're not disciplined enough. It's not because you're still waiting for something. What's happening is you're building a new reality with an old identity. And this is why I, every single year during Capricorn season, launch Reset Retreat. This is my 3-day virtual experience where we don't just set goals for the new year. We are first revealing what's been in our way. We're rewiring the patterns and beliefs that are keeping us stuck or limiting us, and we align with our true values and what our true desires are, not what we think or the expectations from other people, but what was really coming from within. And we rise as the woman who we came here to be in this new year. This is where your clarity is also going to meet the embodiment, which is the key to stepping into that new identity for your goals in 2026. So we are rooting this in your nervous system. This isn't just thinking, this is true embodiment. So the retreat begins on the 16th, and we have 3 pre-retreat reflection workshops. One that is happening in December, as I said, December 29th, and then 2 in January before the retreat. That is going to help you really look at What have I been focusing on? What worked for me? What didn't work for me? So that you're not carrying the old patterns, the old habits into 2026, but you're being very clear about what it is that 2025 was about, what you learned, what you want to continue with, and what you're ready to leave behind, and what you're ready to rewire, right? So let this reset be the moment that you choose to rise into who you have always been and are always meant to be. You can go to thepeaceteacher.com/reset, or you can click the link in the show notes or description below to join us. Again, that link is thepeaceteacher.com/reset. I can't wait to support you in this new year and creating a year from the truth of who you really are. All right, my friend. And with that, we wrap up this session of our December forecast overview in Sidereal Astrology. Until next time, my friend, remember to keep shining your unique light.